you men might guess, I talk with a great many DeSoto dealers and salesmen in the course of a year, and I'm asked a lot of questions. This year, one of the hot topics is the Firesweep. They're interested in the Firesweep. They want to know what other dealers are doing with it. So I get questions like this. How are other dealers doing with the Firesweep? What are they doing to promote and sell it? What do buyers think of the sweep? Well, we asked dealers, sales managers, salesmen, and new owners about the Firesweep, and we got a lot of good information. To get a cross-section of opinion, we've selected reports from different parts of the country and various size dealerships. I think you'll find these very interesting. So I now turn you over to our narrator.
First, we go out to the Pacific Northwest to the city of Portland, Oregon. We call on Roy Burnett, Jr. of Roy Burnett Motors, Incorporated. Mr. Burnett, will you tell us what you've been doing with the Firesweep?
Our dealership sells the cars we have in stock. In February, we couldn't get Plymouths, therefore we advertised. And advertised nothing but Firesweep during the entire month. Since Firesweep was a new car for DeSoto, we wanted to be sure people knew about it. And more important, we wanted every person who came into the dealership to see it. So everyone coming into the showroom was taken over to the Firesweep and introduced to it. We are concentrating on conquest business, and this year we've been able to take the greatest number of conquest sales in our history. Firesweep has also had a good effect on our used car stock. It is now well balanced with all types of cars, thanks to the trade-ins we've taken with Firesweep. We're emphasizing Firesweep as a demonstrator, and we feel this has accounted for a number of sales. At every opportunity, we push DeSoto prestige when presenting the Firesweep.
Thanks, Roy. Now let's go down the coast to California and call on another DeSoto dealer with some more ideas about merchandising the Firesweep. We call on Art Frost, owner of Art Frost of Culver City. Art, what are you doing with the sweep?
We are featuring Firesweep as being a terrific value for the money. We don't try to tell the public that it's a fire dome or fireflight. All of the personnel here have made a tremendous effort to get the car on the road in front of the public, and we talk Firesweep everywhere and to everyone. All of us feel that our car is vastly superior to anything Olds, Buick, and Mercury can offer.
While we were there, we had a chance to talk to a new Firesweep owner who just come in for his 2,000-mile check. Here's how it went. Mr. Jones, I wonder if you'd mind giving me your impressions about your new Firesweep. What do you like best about it?
I'll be glad to. My Firesweep gives a high-priced car impression, but drives light. It takes the bumps and holds the road better than any car I've ever driven. I like the DeSoto standard brakes better than the power brakes I had on a former car. Everybody comments about its looks. Oh, my family takes a lot of pride in this car.
That's just a sample of what Firesweep owners all around the country are saying, as we'll show you later. But now, let's jump to another part of the country, the Buckeye State of Ohio and the city of Youngstown. This is Al Wagner of Al Wagner Motor Sales in Youngstown. During February, Al's boys rang up 20 Firesweep sales. And here's what Al says about the sweep.
In February, our dealership sold twice as many Firesweeps as fire domes or fireflights. During January, I felt my salesmen weren't doing an adequate job with Firesweep. So I decided to drive a Firesweep 4-door hardtop myself instead of my Fireflight, to help my salesmen know that I felt that the features of the low-priced DeSoto were every bit as saleable as the higher-priced ones. I believe it had some effect, as evidenced in our sales. All my salesmen started driving Firesweep demonstrators and found out themselves that this car has terrific appeal. Price has been very important in Firesweep sales. 50% of our business in Firesweep has been taken from competition, especially Pontiac and even Chevrolet.
In February, Al Wagner sold 20 Firesweeps. In March and April, Firesweep took 40% of all DeSoto sales. Guess Al knows what he's doing all right. Now, let's take the short hop from Ohio to Michigan. Right to Detroit, one of the hottest competitive spots in the country, loaded with GM and Ford Motor Company dealerships. Are sweeps going over in Detroit? We'll drop in at Leo Adler Incorporated, one of the top 10 DeSoto dealerships in the country, and a consistent performer. This is Sid Brand, sales manager of Leo Adler Incorporated. Sid has done something a little unusual in going all out for conquest business. How about it, Sid?
We have hired for our dealerships around the city 2 Buick salesmen, 2 Mercury salesmen,
and 2 Pontiac salesmen. Now, these men know competition thoroughly, and they know how the fire sweep can beat competition in every department. We believe the contacts these men have will help us win more conquest sales.
Incidentally, Adler sold 24 fire sweeps in February, 32 in March, and 25 in April. Looks like it really pays to get serious about going after conquest business. Since Detroit is such a highly competitive town, I think it would be worthwhile to look in on a couple of other DeSoto dealerships here to see what they are doing. This is Stewart Sales and Service on Detroit's east side, Gratiot Avenue to be exact, where there's a heavy concentration of automobile dealerships. Meet Ed Start, sales manager, who has this to say about the fire sweep.
We know what the fire sweep is supposed to do for us. Number one, fill the price gap between Plymouth Belvedere and DeSoto Fire Dome for dual dealerships. And number two, provide a low-price leader for DeSoto exclusive dealers. As far as we're concerned, it's doing a job for us. At first, we had only moderate success with the sweep, mainly because people didn't know about it. They'd come in to look over the Plymouths or top DeSotos, and most of them were surprised when we showed them the fire sweep. Some became interested and took delivery of a sweep. Many of our early Plymouth prospects were disappointed when they couldn't get immediate delivery of a wanted Plymouth model. In many cases, we were able to swing these prospects to a sweep without too much trouble. Other prospects who were sold on DeSoto styling but who couldn't go the price of a Dome or Flight were kept in the DeSoto family by the sweep. In some cases, objections to the sweep trim were solved with Fire Dome trim options. Well, lately, there's been a most encouraging trend in the ability of the sweep to win conquest sales. Our most typical conquest is the owner of a 53 to 55 Buick Special, the type who goes for the big car name at a low price. I also feel that local fire sweep price advertising is getting results because now prospects will drop in and ask to see the sweep, something that never happened early in the model year. I believe sight and word-of-mouth advertising is now working wonders for us. When we place a sweep in a new neighborhood, it usually starts a chain reaction that brings more sweep sales. The fire sweep now represents about 30% of our total DeSoto sales.
Thanks, Ed, that's swell. Incidentally, did you notice that DeSoto and not Fire Sweep is the featured name in those ads? However, the Fire Sweep name shows up on the rear fender. Now, let's call on one more Detroit dealer. Glenn Walker Incorporated, also on Detroit's east side. We called on Glenn Walker at an appropriate time because he was in the midst of a price promotion of the Fire Sweep, as you'll notice. This is Gene Charles, sales manager. Gene masterminded the sweep promotion, which involved a lot of extra effort on the part of salesmen, extra displays around the dealership, and local newspaper advertising. Here's a tear sheet of Glenn Walker's price ad, 2 columns wide by 6.5 inches in depth. It ran in all the Detroit newspapers. Did this extra effort pay off? Here's what Gene Charles had to say.
In the first week and a half of this promotion, we sold 16 DeSotos, of which 12 were sweeps. We think these results justify continuing this promotion.
We ran into another very interesting thing at Glenn Walker. You fellows know how sometimes a closed deal can depend on supplying the color combination a customer wants, and in a hurry. Here's how Glenn Walker solves the problem.
We reduce our color inventory problem by ordering all white fire sweep hardtops with 2-tone moldings and neutral interior trim. The cars are then painted on roofs and color sweeps to suit customers' personal wishes. There's no cost to the dealer since customers pay for 2-tone, which covers cost of paint, labor, and moldings. The advantage, of course, is immediate delivery in white and wanted color combinations. This system is used mostly for 2- and 4-door hardtops since sedan customers are more price conscious.
Thanks for those excellent comments, Gene. While in Detroit, we decided to talk to a few recent buyers of sweeps to see if we could uncover reasons why these buyers decided on a sweep. We got some names and telephone numbers and went to work. This is what we heard from our first customer.
I ordered a Plymouth Belvedere 2-door hardtop with full power equipment. After about a 4-week wait, I came in ready to cancel the order. The salesman told me about the fire sweep and let me drive it. When I found it would only cost me a few $100s to step up to the DeSoto big car class, I was ready to listen. I like DeSoto styling. From the side, I think my fire sweep looks just like a Fire Dome or Fireflight. It handles and rides like a dream. And it has more performance with that torque flight than I'll ever need. I get good economy in the city, too, with about 15 miles per gallon on regular. Friend of mine bought a new Dodge two-door hardtop. He tried to tell me I had the same car with a different name and different skin. I told him my DeSoto was much more like a Chrysler than a Dodge. Yes, sir, I'm darn glad I took this fire sweep.
After the operator turns the record, we have more to report. Another call to a fire sweep buyer brought out these comments.
I drove Pontiacs for 14 years, but they never had anything to compare with this DeSoto. I like the way it rides and holds the road. That torsion bar is wonderful. I like the styling, too, because I think it'll stay in style for several years and keep its new look. I like the extra acceleration of a passing gear. I think this helps prevent accidents if it's used right. For example, I can get out of the other guy's way if he's coming too close to me.
And here's one more customer's reaction. This time it's the buyer's wife who does the talking.
We like the new ride very much better than the Buick we traded in, and never had a car with so much hot performance. People stare at the car when we drive down the street. My friends say wow when they see it for the first time. Our neighbor has a 56 DeSoto, and was he surprised to see us in ours. Guess he didn't think we could afford one.
Is the DeSoto Fire Sweep liked by owners? Well, what do you think? Now, let's check a few more dealers in other cities. Our next stop is Philadelphia. Meet Harold Robinson of H.B. Robinson Incorporated, Philadelphia. Harold, how are you doing with the fire sweep?
The fire sweep has given us an additional 19% of the market to work in, and we're going after drivers of competitive makes. 60% of our sweep sales have been made to competitive owners who are going into our cars for the first time. The new price advertising for fire sweep has helped us tremendously. This is the first time we have ever had a price car, and we feel that fire sweep is a leader that can meet any competition.
Harold reports 37 fire sweep sales in February, 30 in March, and 27 in April. Not bad, huh? Now, meet another DeSoto dealer in the city of brotherly love. This is Colonial Auto Sales Incorporated in Philadelphia. Louis Stein will tell us how this dealership is doing with the sweep.
We're using price to sell fire sweep. Some of our sweep customers are former Plymouth owners who are interested in driving the least expensive DeSoto. So we put them into a stripped-down sweep. We're doing best with 2- and 4-door hardtops. However, we feel we could be doing a lot better.
Colonial Auto Sales sold 11 sweeps in February, and Fire Sweep's share of total DeSoto sales has averaged 33% in March and April. From Philly, it's a short jump to Plainfield, New Jersey, where we call at Liccardi Motors to ask Clem Liccardi for the latest scoop on what he's been doing with the sweep. Clem has this to say.
We're talking about fire sweep as a DeSoto rather than as fire sweep. By doing this all the time, our customers accept the sweep as a member of the DeSoto family. Since we haven't been able to get enough Plymouth Belvederes, we've tried to interest customers in spending a few $100s more for the additional prestige of being a DeSoto driver. We push DeSoto continually with competitive owners. We try to keep prices as low as possible and try to sell a stripped fire sweep if at all possible.
Thanks, Clem. Liccardi Motors sold 21 sweeps in February. During March and April, Fire Sweep's share of total DeSoto sales was a phenomenal 61%. Good going, Clem. We have time for one more dealer call, and we can make it at the Armory Garage at Albany, New York. Anthony Metzner, our dealer, made our ears perk up when he said,
Let's face it, when I first started getting fire sweeps, it cost me dough to put them in shape for delivery, and I had to get that dough back. Know who's paying that dough back? Owners of Olds, Pontiacs, Mercurys, and Buicks. Because we're going after them hot and heavy. This will be our biggest year for taking in competitive makes. Workmanship has improved now, and we're proud to show this car to our customers. We know we've got a good product, and we're selling it to the public on price. Owners of Olds, Pontiacs, and Mercurys and Buicks are getting a better car than they've ever had before, and they know it.
How right you are, Tony. And you've proved it by going up from 11 sweep sales in February to 15 in March and 12 in April. So much for dealer reports. Now let's take a look at the overall picture of the fire sweep. What are the factors that favor increased sweep sales? Here they are. Number 1, price. Number 2, product. Number 3, market. And number 4, public opinion. What about price? Firesweep's price has strong appeal. For example, a prospect needs only about $100 more down payment than for the highest priced Ford, and about $10 or $11 per month more on a 24-month contract to step up to a full-sized car, a Desoto Firesweep. And usually the trade-in allowance will cover down payment. Firesweep has product quality appeal, more quality value features than its competition. It's longer, wider and lower, roomier inside, has larger brakes, most advanced chassis design, exclusive safety features, more safety vision, and a dependable, economical DeSoto engine. Here's something else to remember. You may find prospects who are impressed by the interior trim of Olds 88, Buick Special, and Mercury Monterey. Be sure to point out that an estimated 60% of those cars are factory equipped with extra cost trim. You can prove Firesweep's product story with Ross-Roy slide films, comparison bulletins, comparison pages of your DeSoto data book, and the recent movie which many of you've seen. You're on the test track. With the Firesweep, you cover an additional 19% of the automotive market, the lower medium price market, which has been steadily expanding in volume. If we consider everything except the low price market, which is 51% of the total, here's what it means. Except for the low price 3 market, 9 out of every 10 of all the rest of the car buyers in the market can be considered prospects for a DeSoto, either a Firesweep, Firedome, or Fireflight. What does the general public think of DeSoto? You heard samples of what owners say about their cars, and every new owner can be a walking, talking, and on-the-road advertisement for you. What's more, you have other powerful forces at work shaping opinion favorable to DeSoto. For example, many of the leading magazines read by thousands of car owners have featured DeSoto. Motor Life from March 1957 said, "A car, in the final analysis, is something you ride in or drive. In the case of DeSoto, its steering ease and general roadability are absolutely unsurpassed. It has to be experienced to be appreciated. Body roll is at a minimum. Corners are as flat as can be, and drivers and passengers find something honestly new in American car comfort." All of this is true with the Firesweep. Car Life from March 1957 said, "Summing up, DeSoto is a car that has just about everything, and if enough people can be persuaded to try it on for size, it could move toward the top sales spot in its price class. Room, luggage space, ease of control, luxury, styling, performance, riding comfort, roadability, durable construction are all tops on the DeSoto. It's equally well suited for trips across town or across the continent. All this applies to the Firesweep." Motor Trend sums up a report on DeSoto with this statement. Why buy? Styling that stands out even among its advanced brothers. Adequate power, unobtrusively served up. Big car luxury in a reasonably sized package. Constantly improving depreciation rate. Every word of this is true with the DeSoto Firesweep. Here's something else that gives us an impressive picture of customer opinion. This questionnaire was given to a sampling of DeSoto buyers all over the country. The figures we will show you are based on the first 4,500 sent to owners. And all of these owners took delivery of their new cars during 1956. Owner ratings of overall exterior styling are fairly even among all DeSoto buyers. 93% of sweep owners said good. But notice the next set of figures. Owner ratings of front-end styling show Firesweep the favorite. Owner ratings of side view styling again give the Firesweep a slightly larger good rating. 97% said good. So much for opinions of exterior styling. Now let's look at opinions of the interior. Owner ratings of overall interior styling show the Sweep comparing very well. 88% said good. Now let's look at the response to another important question, especially important to dealers and salesmen. The question asked of fire sweep owners was, what 2 or 3 factors had the strongest influence on your decision to buy a DeSoto? Take a long, hard look at the answers. Study this chart for a minute. Of course, you'd expect styling to head the list, and it does, with 66%. But look where good deal or trade falls. It has the same weight as performance. Notice the dealer's reputation was mentioned by 18%, or almost 1 out of 5. That's it. A report on the fire sweep from dealers, salesmen, owners, and the general public. Now, Mr. Wagstaff has something to add.
I think you fellows will agree that was a very impressive report, and I think we've all learned something from it. There is one more thing I might add, however. I think you will be interested to know how the fire sweep, our entry into a brand new market area, has done in comparison with similar moves of some of our competitors. Here is the monthly percentage of DeSoto sales taken by fire sweep since its introduction. In November, 36%. December, 38%. In January, it hit a high of 39%. February, 35%. March, 35%. And for the first 2/3 of April, 35%. The average for the year so far is 36.3%. Now, how did our competitors do? In 1951, Oldsmobile introduced the 88 series. Its share of total Oldsmobile sales for the first year was 12%. In 1954, Buick brought out the Century. It took 18% of Buick's total sales for the year. In 1955, Dodge Division brought out its Custom Royal. First-year performance was 31% of total Dodge sales. Also in 1955, Mercury introduced its Monterey series and took 31% of total Mercury sales for the first year. I think we've made a good start with the fire sweep, and from the facts brought out in this report, I'm sure we can all take it from here and hang up some new records. What do you say we do it?